Greetings, Boo Believers. Welcome to Deadsville Horror Talk. I'm your host, Ronin James, and to my left, the lovely Steph Infection.
Hey, Scream Hearts.
Today, we are going to do a list episode because everybody loves lists, and it's the end of the year, and everybody's doing their best of 2023, and their top this and their top that. So, we're going to do one, aren't we, Steph Infection?
Yes, we are.
We're going to do a top horror movies of 2023.
Top 10 that we reviewed.
Right, specifically that we reviewed. So,
yes. So don't get mad if something's not on it we didn't review.
If your favorite movie doesn't make the top 10 with us, it might not have been on one of our reviews. So this is strictly movies that we have reviewed here on Deadsville Horror Talk, whether it was the current format where we do a pre-recorded show, or when we did the live. We did Horror Talk Tuesday live, and we did a couple movies live.
That was awful.
Yeah, that was awful.
And I feel
but the movies were good, so we still want to be able to use those. We reviewed them; they count. They were, the ones that were in 2023, they count.
Absolutely.
So they count as well. So anything that we have reviewed as Deadsville Horror Talk together is fair game.
And I feel like before we give you our list, we have to tell you all, if you don't know, we did not see the new Saw movie, so don't get mad at us.
Yeah, neither of us saw the new Saw movie.
We don't plan to.
Yeah,
we didn't review it.
It's not something we
So if you're,
reviewed, so.
I feel like I have to put that out there before we give you our list.
All right, before we get started though, a bit about us. I'm Deadsville director Ronin James. I'm a veteran stuntman, stunt coordinator, second unit director, went to school for filmmaking way back when we were still cutting film, and still doing it today. This is now the modern filmmaker is now content creator. So here I am producing content, spooky and funny and informative and hopefully interactive as well, doing the Daily Booze thing every day. And my partner in crime is Steph Infection.
Yeah.
Actress, producer, dance choreographer, when she has a good hip.
Yeah, it's not good this week. Bad hip.
She's a veteran cheerleader, now the head cheerleader at Deadsville, but she's got some war wounds from back in the day, some old battle scars and old football injuries, cheerleading injuries.
Many, actually.
So, yes.
My head ain't right from it.
Neither of our heads are. That's probably why we do this now. So yes, join us here used to be every week.
Yeah, whatever.
We slacked a little bit over Christmas, but we just dropped the Godzilla review, so that's out there. And this one is going to follow it up real quick, because we're going to get this edited and get it out before New Year's Eve, because it's the end of 2023.
Yeah.
So
a couple of days for us as of now.
Make sure you like, subscribe, ding the bell, follow, especially if you're watching this on our Facebook pages. Make sure you follow and have your friends follow. You can click the 3 dots on our page and go to invite friends and invite like 1,000 friends at a time and have them follow us. And that helps us a ton.
A ton.
A ton. Yeah, we're kind of focusing on Facebook, still doing our podcast on Spotify. So if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you're following. And we're also on YouTube and Rumble and Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, a bunch of them. We're all over the place. Yeah. But we get the most interaction on Facebook, it seems. So that's our generation.
I was just going to say, it's definitely our generation.
So, and that's where we want to talk to our people who love 80s horror, practical effects, that aren't fooled by plot holes, and so you're our people here on Facebook.
Yes.
So yes, we come to you. I come to you daily, Monday through Friday, and we come to you every week. And Steph's usually all over Facebook as well.
I am all over it.
All over it.
Not as much as you.
You can also email us at
deadsvillehorrortalk@gmail.com. Subject, mailbag.
So there you go. If you completely disagree with our top 10 list, you can email us and tell us why we're fucking idiots.
And you want to hang up your ongoing joke from 2023?
Are we hanging up the MALE bag?
I feel like we should.
No more MALE bag, I guess. All right, no more mail bags. You guys have been pretty good. Nobody sent their balls in or their penis or anything, so. All right.
Let's hang up that joke.
I will retire.
Thank you.
The mailbag joke.
Put him on the spot to force that,
Elvis has left the building.
All right.
Okay, well, everybody loves a list, so let's get to our top 10 horrors of 2023, Steph Infection.
Oh, wow.
And we had a lot of different types of horror this year. We had some slashers, we had some awesome supernatural horror, giant monster horror dominating the box office, and all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah. Besides horror, I purposely wore my Barbie shirt because that was one of my favorite movies this year.
Okay.
But it's not
So still
horror.
squeezing it in,
So-
even though you're not getting it on the list.
Yeah, I gotta squeeze it in because I love my Barbie
wearing
movie.
a Zombie Makeout Club shirt.
Yeah, Zombie
you
Makeout
can follow
Club.
Zombie Makeout Club on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome manga-inspired goth girl art.
Yep.
They sell this at Hot Topic. You've probably seen it, but there's many more designs that the artist sells on his Instagram page. He has many more designs that aren't sold in Hot Topic. There's only like a certain amount there, and then he's got a whole bunch more that he does. So, yeah, check him out. And I also like the Barbie movie. I got to get a I Am Knuff shirt at some point, I guess.
Yeah, I almost got you one.
Yeah.
I didn't have your size. I'll get you one.
All right. All right, well, without further ado, let's get to these top 10 horrors of 2023. And let's start with, like, the honorable mention, the almost made, the just missed the list
Yeah, we can do that.
Would you like to you go first, Steph Infection?
My-
Ladies first.
Honorable mention was No One Will Save You. And I loved the movie. I absolutely loved it, but I just felt very connected to my top 10 a little bit more. So that was my honorable mention.
All right. Well, No One Will Save You is actually my number 10 movie.
Yeah.
And it made my list. It beat out my honorable mention.
Which is?
My honorable mention is Renfield.
And that's my number 10.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah.
So I really, really enjoyed Renfield despite Awkwafina's presence. And that is what pushed it out of my top 10, really, was like the whole Awkwafina subplot, like that whole stuff with her and the dad and the sister. It was so like forced and not fleshed out that and don't get me wrong, No One Will Save You has its issues too, and I'll get into that when I get to my number 10. But for Renfield, the whole Awkwafina thing, I love Nicholas Hoult. I love Nicolas Cage as Dracula. I thought it was fucking great. The action scenes were fucking outstanding. The fights were awesome, man. The blood was good, and Cage was great. I could have used a little bit more of him, but I think there was enough of him in there to make it a good movie. I would have rather have seen more of him and less of the Awkwafina.
I think you just
top side
you have
story,
just
though.
a hatred for Awkwafina, where I put that aside. Overall, why it made my top 10, I thought it was hilarious. I thought the kills, even like just the comedy, overall, I love, and it's Nick Cage, so of course it's got to make my list.
Yeah,
So.
I agree, but like I said, I just felt like that part of the story, there was a lot of time spent on Awkwafina and her sister and her dad being a cop, and it was all,
Oh,
and it was
yeah,
just,
believe
and then
me.
just none of it worked for me. So that took a big chunk of the movie out of the picture for me. It just made it.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't
so
think
that's
it-
why I wound
yeah.
up with it. No, just like it wasn't just her. Like maybe if there was a better actress in there, that stuff would have worked better for me.
No, the
but I just
writing
feel like
for that was
part of it
awful.
was just bad. I just felt like that was an unnecessary trope that they threw in there.
It was.
The cop trying to live up and fill her dad cop shoes kind of thing. It's like
It totally was. I still liked it better than No One Will Save You personally. That's why I went back and forth.
well, here's why I'll do my number 10 first, since I've already given it away, and you can give your and you've already given yours too.
Yeah.
But for me, No One Will Save You makes my top 10 because Despite the fact that my biggest gripe with alien invasion movies is the lack of armor when these aliens come and invade in the first place, and lack of proper preparation for invading a world and country that has firearms, and especially if you're coming to America, these motherfuckers got guns.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there was an advanced scout team that just didn't pay attention or something with these aliens. And it's not just this movie though. It's not just No One Will Save You. It's every fucking alien movie with the exception of like. What do you call it? Which one? The Independence Day had aliens that had like armor and guns and stuff. There were a couple that had them. But for the most part, you get like Signs where they trap an alien who travels billions of light years.
And he gets stuck in a cupboard.
Gets stuck in a cupboard behind a flimsy wooden door. Come on, man. That just drives me up a wall. But the good in No One Will Save You outweighed that for me because they took a huge chance with this movie with the no dialogue thing. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't seen it yet, or haven't heard about this movie,
there's five words.
There's five words. It's at the end of the movie. It's at the end of the movie, and it's really like, like by now the whole story has been told without any dialogue whatsoever. So by the time they give you that little bit of dialogue, everything's already done. It's a really brave thing to do. Mm-hmm. Because you're leaving it up to the audience to figure all this stuff out, and I gotta tell you, modern audiences are pretty fucking stupid and like shit spoon-fed. Do they like it spoon-fed? They just spoon-feed it to me, Hollywood. I need it spelled out to me, and somebody's gotta tell it, and I need tons of exposition to understand what's going on, and blah blah. Holy shit, man! No, you can make a whole movie without.
You couldn't because you talk so much. You could not.
I know, but still, I get it. But still, this was a really brave, and it works on so many levels.
Yes.
The tension is there, the pacing is great, it moves quick. Yeah, I just really dug it, man. No One Will Save You is my number 10.
So obviously we kind of were in the same boat at the end of our list, back and forth. I just put Renfield because I realized in my list I love comedies. I love horror comedies more than probably anything. So
that's why we get along.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, Renfield is your 10.
It's my 10.
So then you can do. Go ahead. You can do.
Okay.
Number 9.
So I did number 9, even though I actually had a lot of rants and problems with this movie. I had to go Insidious: The Red Door because it's my favorite horror film franchise ever. So I loved that. I loved so much, almost like just the nostalgia from that aspect because it was 13 years later or whatever. There were some jump scare, or not even jump scares, just panicked and high anxiety scares and like, what do you even call them? You missed the best one too. High tension, scares that I thought were better than a lot of them that a lot of any scares that we watched in like a lot of movies over the year. It's just that the writing was bad. There was plot holes.
Inconsistencies in character.
Yeah, it was just weird.
That's kind of why that didn't make my list.
It didn't, but I had to. Like I was like, I have to put it on my list because
like a heart.
But
voting with your heart there.
It is, but those jump scares, and also that they were showing flashbacks from the original one. Like I loved those parts so much that, like in hindsight, like I just love the movie as a whole, just because it kind of wrapped it up. So I had to put it on my list.
And I enjoyed it for what it was. It just wasn't going to make my top 10. I'm not as big on the Insidious movies.
I didn't.
And I felt like there was too much. Too many inconsistencies.
Yeah, no, I see. There
was stuff there that just didn't work for me.
I just love Insidious, the original, so.
My number 9 might be a bit of a surprise, because I don't know who else was picking this thing, but Cobweb. I really enjoyed Cobweb. I thought it was creepy as hell, and I know it wasn't even on a lot of people's radars. It popped out. Did we watch it on? Did we go to the theater to see it? I think we saw it in the theater.
We did, because it was like random. It was like a random.
And Anthony Starr from The Boys is fucking amazing in it. Like the acting in it was so good. The tension is really good. They keep you guessing. Like that was my biggest thing. Like until almost the very end, you're like, man, it keeps you guessing what's going on. And
totally.
There are parts where you're just like, man, the scenes with like the teacher visiting and the
Dude, there
and
was a
he's
twist.
bleeding. Oh,
There was
so
a twist in that
The
that I was
twist
like,
and
what?
The setups and everything that was like, oh man, it was just such a well thought out movie.
It did not make my list, though.
Well paced,
Yeah.
creepy, good creature at the end.
Yeah, it was
I
a
dug
little
it. I liked
comical,
it.
but yeah, it was. I liked it. I think it was just a little slow at parts, but then there was like great parts. So it just didn't.
This would be like my type of slow burn, though. Like when people talk about like slow, like Midsommar or some of these artsy films that are like character studies, that's a slow burn, and that's like, oh, that's unbearable to me. I can't watch that kind of slow burn stuff. But this would be kind of like this is like the slowest. But this was like it's like a mystery unfolding of what's really going on and what really happened.
Yeah.
And it was really, man, like
I
the
really
pieces all
liked
fit
it.
together.
Yeah,
I thought it was really well written and really well done.
Wasn't my top 10 because I literally, and a lot of this, I talk about this all the time, is like rewatchability. So like there were some I'm like, nah, I probably won't watch that again. And there's even some on my list that I don't really want to watch again, even though I love them. So, that's why I gauged things, movies where I did.
All right. Well, I will do my number 8 then, right? We switch back and forth.
Sure.
Go back and forth. All right. My number 8 is The Blackening. And I love this one. It's another horror comedy. This is the first horror comedy on my list. Well, no, Renfield is honorable mention. But the first horror comedy on my actual top 10 list is going to be The Blackening. And
it's on my list. It's just a little bit higher.
yeah? Yeah, okay.
But my number 8 is also a comedy.
Horror comedy? All right. I thought the writing in this was excellent. The pop culture references were spot on. The twist I saw coming a little bit, but by the time we got there, the movie was so fun I didn't care. It had elements of Saw that I liked without like the uncomfortable torture aspect of it. Like it had that let's play a game, friends trapped in a room type of deal, and like the countdown is on kind of thing.
Make a decision.
So I dug that aspect of it. The pacing was good in that one too. I felt like it moved quick enough. The acting was really good though. Like I really liked a lot of the actors. I really liked the characters, and like right off the bat, like the you get a lot of these movies and it feels like a bunch of actors just brought together, but this one really felt like, because this was a movie about a bunch of friends reuniting for Juneteenth, so it really felt like they were a group of old friends.
Yes.
Like the chemistry between the entire group was so good. With the exception of the one guy,
and they're like, "Why are you here?" But yeah,
it was super believable, super realistic. Like I was very able to immerse myself in it, and the comedy was great. The Blackening was my number 8.
Yeah, and that's why, because it was so organic, the way and just the comedy just flowed. I have that higher up on my list. I just loved it, and it was. I think that was more. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Original than my number 8, which is Totally Killer. So I love this movie, but when I was actually like comparing them all, like I loved the one-liners, I liked the kills, I loved the comedic, aspect of it. It was just, it's been done before, so it was kind of, it's on my list, and I definitely think it's my top 10. I put it at 8. So I had The Blackening higher, but I'll get there.
All right. So what's your? Okay, so you're at 8, Totally Killer.
I was saying that's my 8.
All right, well, I have Totally Killer on my list too, but it's higher.
Yeah. So we're opposite. We didn't show each other our list before.
We haven't reviewed these. All right.
Yeah. So I love Totally Killer, but it was just it very. You knew what was happening, and I kind of it's just why it was such a fun movie. Like I said, but.
Yep. Well, we both have the same one for number 7.
We do?
We do.
Oh.
I looked over your shoulder to check your list.
And you want to say what that is?
We both have Cocaine Bear as number 7.
Yeah.
And man, I fucking loved Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
It was such a great movie. Quirky characters, funny conversations. The bear, the CGI on the bear was awesome.
Some of the blood, like everything. The kills.
The whole fucking paramedic scene. With
oh my gosh, running. Yeah.
Oh, fucking hilarious. The kills were brutal. Ray Liotta's last film, a legend.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I loved Cocaine Bear.
Ridiculous movie, but Elizabeth Banks knocked it the fuck out of the park as the director of this one. And just had fun with it, and it was just so much fun, man. It was one of the funnest movies of the year for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched that. I must have watched it 4 or 5 times. I just kept turning it on. And
I know you did.
Once it was on free to stream, I would just put it on in the background every day when I would come to work. It's Cocaine Bear time. Click.
And I think that's why, like, it's number 7 because it's so funny. It was kills, but it was fun. But we obviously have other movies that we loved so much more above that.
Yeah, for sure. I've got quite the.
I know.
You have more on Cocaine Bear, or can I jump to my next one?
No, jump to the next.
Number 6 is one that you've already covered.
There you go.
Number 6, I have Totally Killer. I fucking loved it. I know it was Scream meets Back to the Future, but I just thought that the execution was so well done. And yeah, there's a lot of dumb stuff like, oh yeah, she's making a time machine for the high school fair and all this stuff. But dude, think about Back to the Future. The flux capacitor, like all that shit was just made up nonsense, man. Then we just went with it because it was a fun ride. So when this shit popped up in Totally Killer, I was like, dude, I love that they're just going with this. It's a fucking phone booth.
So did I loved it.
I was just like, oh my God, there's no questions, there's no exposition, there's no explaining anything. We're just like, hey, we're building a time machine and that's the way it is, so let's get on with the movie. And I fucking loved it. And I loved that the approach to, because again, everything nowadays is like woke and wanting to be diverse and pandering and kind of quick to point out trauma and everything else and
this made fun of it.
And it made fun of it, but it also made fun of it in a way that was quick, witty, and doesn't beat you over the head, so you can like laugh, and they just moved on to like the next bit.
But it was also shining light on like oh, it's not okay, but then it's also like a little bit too much to be like, that's not okay over and over and over again.
I think the problem that we get with a lot of these, and I even hate calling out like woke, because woke is a word that used to mean something way back when, and has lost a lot of that meaning now because it gets commandeered by people with agendas, and the original meaning gets lost. But I felt like usually when you get these woke movies, they're so heavy-handed. They're so heavy-handed, and it's just like grown and cringe-inducing, and it actually turns you off
completely
to the ideas that they're trying to get across, because they're trying to jam them down your throat with this cringy bullshit. Whereas this approached it from like one of the greatest scenes, and the kid's like, hey, maybe she just would have given him a blowjob, she'd still be alive. And she was like, okay, probably not the message we want to walk away from here, but moving on. And that's it. That's all you have to say. And it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
When he comes up, he pushes her, I want to touch. I want to touch. Yeah.
Well, that's problematic, but okay. And then they move on. Like that. It was just so good. And she was so good. Kiernan Shipka. Yes, I have a bit of a crush. I love Sabrina. She was great in Sabrina, but she was also great in this. She plays the straight person in this, because everybody else around her is ridiculously over the top 80s. And she has to maintain a straight face through all this. And she does a great job. She's so good. So, and the killer was good. The twist was good. I liked the use of the fucking park and the gravitron. And,
it was so fun.
I really loved it. I really liked it. So,
I did too.
It made my.
I just thought the blackening was more original, so that's why I bumped it higher up my list. So. It made me laugh more, I think.
Yeah, I think that
really made me laugh. Like I was crying laughing. Whereas
both of them had like that social satire aspect to them that I appreciated a great deal. I guess I just thought that the whole the 80s thing probably is what got me.
Yeah, and I loved it. I loved it. It's on my
list.
list.
The edge to Totally Killer was the 80s, like the whole Back to the Future, going to the 80s thing and setting it there and having the whole...
And there was a lot of,
there was a lot of humor that came of that.
Yeah,
and
even what they talked about. And and I loved it. That's why
I'm a product of the 80s, so I really like
Same, but I mean, I really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. It's just, you know, you're kind of battling. Like we said, we weren't going to talk about our lists, and I mean, I was crossing out stuff, and I was really
mine
thinking.
Changed from the Daily Booze the other day too.
Yeah, I saw you on it. You're like, oh no, I forgot about that. All right, so
you're number 6.
My number 6 is going to probably make you mad.
I'm not going to be mad. I don't get mad.
Okay, so if this, before I say what this is probably my number 2 scariest movie of the year. Okay? But if we're talking about my personal, like what I like and preference and what I'll rewatch and stuff, I had to put this here right in the middle because number 6 is Thanksgiving, and I covered my eyes through half the movie. I still have the ick from it. I got that Saw, like when I watch Saw and like Hostel, and God, it just sticks with you. So it's so good. It's definitely might be like, I don't know. It wouldn't say scariest because I think I have another one as like my scariest of the year, but yeah, it was just horrifying. So.
Well, that one made my list too, but it was much higher.
Yeah, so what's your number 6?
We'll get there. My number 6 is Totally Killer. So you can do your number 5 now.
So my number 5, this is where I have The Blackening, because I just thought it was something I haven't seen before. The comedy, like, you don't get people of color doing, you know, we're starting to see it more with like horror films. But this one being satire and comedy, but also brutal with kills and kind of suspenseful, I just thought it was really original. Even though it was kind of obvious what something was happening, it still was just, I don't know, it was one of like my favorite horror comedies. So
yeah, it's definitely
always
made my list too. I really loved it. Yeah, I mean, it's nowadays in movies, it's real. A lot of times, if you watch enough movies, you know what's coming. It's just a matter of execution. If they do a good job of executing it, then it doesn't necessarily matter if you know what's coming. You know what's going to come at the end. There's point A to point B, but it's that journey in between. Yeah. If it's good, that's the fun. That's the meat of the. You know, like the opener grabs you. Your ending ties everything together, but it's that fucking middle part that's really got to be the meat and potatoes of the movie. That's really got to make it worth watching. So
don't say meat and potatoes when I'm hungry.
A lot of endings don't always work for me either. It's just like, oh, let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah. So, oh yeah.
A lot of times I'll love a movie.
I've watched
and then
many
the ending,
movies.
I'll be like, oh, that ending sucked. So, all right. My number 5 is Evil Dead Rise. And loved it.
It's on my list. It's a little higher.
Yeah, a great addition to the franchise. I thought that setting it in the apartment building was great. A little convenient that the, ground breaks open. There's always some ground breaking open and kids going in where they shouldn't and unleashing some evil. But it was cool enough, and the execution was great. There was a lot of really creepy stuff in there. The mom, and the other thing is child death. I mean, when you take it to child death,
he loves child death.
We had another movie that did it. That didn't make my list.
Oh God, no! The Demeter.
The Demeter, yeah, Voyage of the Demeter.
No, that would
ballsy.
Never.
They killed the kid not once but twice.
No, that would not make my list. No way.
But the movie did not make it. But this one did. They not only killed the girl, but they also made her a deadite. So child death and child deadite, which was really cool. The only thing that I kind of like was the
blob.
The blob, the thing at the end. I guess it wrapped everything up. It was fun to throw it in the wood chipper, and it made for a fun, bloody ending. But it looked just like The Thing. I was just like, what happened? I was watching Evil Dead, now I'm watching The Thing.
Yeah, it was a little weird. But I have a reason why it's the number that it is on mine.
But yeah, so for me, it was 5 because I felt like there were a couple more that were a little more in my wheelhouse, I guess. But this one was great. It was dark, and the mom she was fucking sadistic. She was like a fucking...
I feel like I should just talk about...
guy.
I know, but I feel like I should just talk about this because I had these two switched. And I had Evil Dead Rise as my number 4. And I switched it. And this is why I'm just going to give you my number 3 is Evil Dead Rise. Because I had to think back at when... Do you remember when we saw it in the theater? The sound, the jumps, I was petrified. And I really felt scared. And I also loved a lot of the, like, Evil Dead, like the original Evil Dead kind of coming out. So the nostalgia with that also. So I had to bump it up because I was like, I gotta have, like, if I had to think of what actually made me jump probably the most, it was that at one point, in the theater. It was that. Thanksgiving gave me the ick, and that gave me the jumps, I guess. But I jump easily, though.
All right.
So I'll give you my number 4. My number 4, since I jumped around, is The Haunted Mansion. And I love this movie, actually more than The Evil Dead Rise, but because I'm such a Disney fan, I thought the movie itself it was done so well, too. It was just, and how they followed, with the hitchhikers and everything down to like the tombstones and the actual appearance of the ride. And they used the one in Disney World and Disneyland, so you had both, because they look totally different, the two. One was like the house and one was the, I don't know where they went to find something at some point. But I love The Haunted Mansion so much. So that was my number 4, and then my number 3 was Evil Dead Rise.
Haunted Mansion did not make my list.
Yeah. I loved it so much.
You have the sentimental attachment to it, so...
But I just, I love the movie so much.
And I enjoyed the movie. I really did enjoy the movie, and I do recommend seeing it. I thought it was really good. But yeah, it did not make my...
Yeah, if you're a Disney fan and you like even spooky, because there were moments in the Haunted Mansion that I was like, wow, this is scarier, like a little bit, like scarier than I thought it was going to be, or spookier, or however you want to say it, Mm-hmm. So yeah.
All right, well, my number 4 of 2023 was probably my scariest movie of the year, I think. And that's Talk to Me. A24's Talk to Me.
Yeah, I had that probably as my honorable mention before. I forgot about.
I can't believe it didn't
I
make
know
your list.
it didn't because.
Or Insidious or something.
No, I really thought about it.
Talk to Me was amazing.
It was really good, but I told you I had to.
So well written. There was a little bit of a lull towards the beginning of the third act, and that second transitioning into the third act. There was a little bit of a slowdown to the pacing, but I just felt like the concept was great. The jump scares were incredible. It was shot really well. The acting was awesome. There was some brutal stuff in there, and then the ending, just like I just said, sometimes I hate the endings. I could not have loved this ending anymore.
Same.
I thought it was probably one of the best endings of the year. It was just I was just like, fuck yeah!
I know.
It was so good.
This is why it was so hard, because I was going through my list and I was like, I don't know. I had more of an attachment to other things.
Yeah, you let sentimentality get in there for Insidious.
I did.
For Haunted Mansion.
But that's okay, because these are my lists.
No, for sure. That's your
list. But Talk to Me was definitely up there.
Yeah, I just felt like it. Yeah, Talk to Me was just so like original. I mean, it was like a new, like fresh take on possession horror, and playing up like the teen party aspect of it and making it kind of like a social media thing to do, like a social media challenge.
Kind of, yeah.
It's almost like the ice bucket challenge or something. These kids were doing this stuff and recording it, and like it's like it's the new TikTok craze is to get one of these hands and be possessed. It's Yeah, I
Yeah, it
just
was
thought it was such a
believable,
great. Yeah, and I could totally see stupid ass kids today
Oh,
doing this shit.
absolutely.
100%.
I'd do it.
100
You wouldn't do it?
I don't think so.
Well, maybe if I didn't see somebody. If I saw somebody do it first, maybe not.
But yeah, Talk to Me was my number 4.
And what's your number 3? Because
Oh,
I
yeah,
already
you
gave
gave your-
mine.
your-
I know.
Number 3. So my number 3 was Thanksgiving. I just thought Eli Roth was super creative with the kills. So much so that when I saw another movie 2 days later, it was brutal and had R-rated kills in it too. But by comparison, I was just like, they were okay. I just saw Thanksgiving though, because
Thanksgiving
was just
so
so
brutal.
like over the top, and he just does such a great job. But also like the John Carver, it's a good fucking, it's a legit slasher, like it's a legit addition to the whole of slashers. Like he was fucking awesome. And you had Patrick Dempsey in there, and you had Gina Gershon briefly.
I believe it was so good.
Just when you thought you were going to catch your breath, it was like boom, it's right on top of you again. And it's just like, holy shit, it never lets up.
That's why I don't particularly like stuff like that.
For me,
My heart can't take it.
I was on the edge. I saw it twice. I went back for seconds.
I know.
Because I missed the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of it the first time. But
20 minutes.
But yeah, Thanksgiving was so good. Got, one of my highest recommended movies of the year.
Yeah.
So that was my number 3.
And our number 1 and 2 are the same 2 movies but swapped. And I have my reasons.
All right. Okay, well, you want to give yours?
So we'll just and then we can just talk about both of them. So my number 2 is Godzilla.
Godzilla -1.
-1, sorry. And my number 1 is Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. Is that the whole title?
That's the title.
I didn't write it down.
Yep, and my number 2 is Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls, and my number 1 is Godzilla -1.
So before you go into all of your stuff that I'm sure you're going to break both of these apart, I really had to think about this, and they were both fantastic. I loved them both. But when it came to Onyx, there was heartfelt moments, there was comedy, and it was just written so well for somebody that this is their first full feature. I came out of that, and in our podcast, I said it was a perfect movie to me. Godzilla, beautiful. I was crying in that also. I had a couple gripes, so I with a couple things, like him running and finding her in the middle, stuff that I was
coincidence
like,
of it,
the
yes.
coincidence of things, and I was like, it's just 2 totally different movies. But if I really had to pick my true favorite, I gotta lean towards the comedy, but also like heartfelt. Like I just thought Onyx, it was just a perfect movie. It touched everything. I
don't disagree.
And the puppets, oh my God, they were just I thought it was perfect. I thought it was such a perfect movie. And I said because I went back and listened, and I said Godzilla was almost perfect to me when I said Onyx was a perfect movie. And I truly believe that. I really believe that's me personally.
I mean, I thought Onyx was a perfect movie too, but Godzilla did some stuff that hadn't been done in a while, hadn't been done before. For me, as a fan of giant monster movies, and growing up on Godzilla ever since I was little, it takes a lot to do something different, and bad CGI can wreck a movie. They didn't have a big budget to do this with, and I mean, it's just the story is so engaging. I don't usually get in for the drama stuff, and I really don't care about kids or nothing like that. I don't care about no kids in movies. But I actually felt bad, and they had me.
You have cared about a couple kids in a couple movies.
Monster Squad, I care about the kids.
All right.
Short rounds,
Oh.
But
no, we don't care about him.
No, I mean, it made not to say I didn't care about the characters in Onyx, but the drama of Godzilla, again, like being put on the street in the position of somebody when Godzilla's destroying the city, as opposed to the way it's always been done classically, where you're seeing a wide shot of people running down the streets and Godzilla in the background, and it's not as immersive. And this one like really put me in the destruction. So I was a little more forgiving of the coincidence type things that happened in there, and I just kind of like. The drama of it all, man. The shit's gonna win an Oscar. It's nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, like I said, I went back and forth, but yeah.
And for another thing is that it's kind of like for somebody that's been a Godzilla fan his whole life and has prayed at the Temple of Godzilla.
I never doubted that was your number one. It just has to be.
I know, but I mean, for it to go out and do what it did at the box office and kick so much ass and kick Hollywood's ass, like that's,
You're
that's,
like a proud dad.
I'm a proud dad. Godzilla is kicking Hollywood's ass, and I'm so sick of Hollywood's fucking generic cookie cutter by the book bullshit. It's so good to see them now scrambling because they're seeing Godzilla being, doing so well at the box office, and now they're like, oh fuck, well, how are we going to do this? What are we going to do now?
Yeah. No, I get it.
So
totally get it.
Seeing a movie like Godzilla be nominated for an Oscar, I mean, some people don't even get Oscars. They're going to give Godzilla an Oscar.
I know. Oh, well, we'll see. Hopefully.
So, yeah, and not to take anything away, Onyx the Fortuitous is my second favorite movie of the year.
Yeah.
It was a perfect movie. It was a hilarious comedy. The character's great. The story of Andrew Bowser.
God, and just like you don't see the heartbreaking moments coming, and I was like,
there's stuff. No, I mean the story of Andrew Bowser as getting the independent film made, going from Weird Arby's guy viral commercials.
And I thought he was kind of annoying, when you were showing me his videos.
First feature film made, and it being such a good movie.
Yeah.
He has a great cast. I mean, the cast is awesome.
I know.
Jeffrey Combs playing Bartok, and
I love the ending, and we're gonna get a sequel. I loved it so much, and that's the only reason I kind of went back and forth.
Yeah.
One I saw was perfect. One I saw was almost perfect.
I get it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Our top 10. Gotta give you a rundown again first, Steph.
All right. Number 10, I had Renfield. 9, Insidious, The Red Door. 8, Totally Killer. 7, Cocaine Bear. 6, Thanksgiving. 5, The Blackening. 4, Haunted Mansion. 3, Evil Dead Rise. 2, Godzilla, and 1, Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. Talisman of Souls.
All right, then mine, I had number 10, No One Will Save You. Number 9, Cobweb. Number 8, The Blackening. Number 7, Cocaine Bear. Number 6, Totally Killer. Number 5, Evil Dead Rise. Number 4, Talk to Me. Number 3, Thanksgiving. Number 2, Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. And number 1, Godzilla -1. So there you have it, Boo Believers and Scream Hearts.
We had a lot of and Scream Hearts. You just want to say it,
I can't
don't
believe
you?
you didn't have Talk to Me on your list.
Dude, I fought with it, but I was like, and that's what I was like. I like the comedies more, and I have a connection with Insidious, and there's Nick Cage, and I was like, I was fighting with myself.
All right,
fighting.
Well. You guys let us know what you think about our lists here, and I'll pop them up. Probably have them. There'll probably be a graphic or something where you can see where we have them. Or
sure.
I'll make a post, and you can argue with us or something.
Yeah,
we could with it on a post that we can share, and you can have it listed there, and you can kind of compare. And feel free to email us at
DeadsvilleHardTalk@gmail.com. Subject mailbag.
And you can comment there as well and let us know why we're stupid for picking these movies and not watching Saw X or what else didn't we watch this year? It was Beau is Afraid. Like, I've seen all these movies people are putting on their top 10 list. It's an Ari Aster movie. It's a cerebral. It's like the guy who made Midsommar. It's like a thinking movie that's all disjointed and annoying.
We watch a lot of stuff. Like, these are our favorites. I don't know. We did like 26.
We did 26 episodes of Deadsville Horror Talk this year. We're not into the art house stuff. We are horror.
That's exactly half a year, though. Or every 2 weeks. 52 weeks in a year. 26 episodes. That's every other week.
Yeah, we didn't start at the beginning of the year. We started.
No, so I think that's impressive.
Yeah, we got through a bunch.
Yeah.
So next year we'll have even more.
Oh, great.
Woo! And even more to choose from. So, to start looking and seeing what's coming out in theaters for January.
Yeah.
First week of January, see what we're going to see. All right. Boo Believers, that's going to do it. We're going to wrap it up. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And follow Steph Infection's page.
Yeah.
Follow my page. Follow Deadsville Productions. All that good stuff.
Everything. And anything else? Have a happy, healthy New Year, Scream Hearts.
And stay spooky.